on Monday and
Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host, the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard of streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. It's not just me, Patty P, here in the yard of streams. I'm joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
hello.
Hey there. Hey. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We made it. Only one more day.
And SmackDown's been spoiled.
Yeah, that's going to happen when
I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I don't
SmackDown
care.
totally...
It's spoiled for me every week anyway. So
yeah. No, I didn't mind because I have had a real let me back up. Not crappy week, but just a very draining week, I will say. You ever feel those times in life where you feel like change is happening? You know what I mean? Like a change in mindset, a change in something. That's just what, we're going through right now. And it's not all bad. That's the thing. Sometimes change isn't always great. But we're getting a little bit of both. And it's just draining, it's just tiring. And I got caught up in Love Island this week. Yeah. That show is hilarious. All right. I have equivocated it to basically it's pro wrestling minus the physicality. It's the constant drama.
I think you're just too new to bad reality TV. Because it's probably just it's like the Real Housewives, but it's like
that's
young
that's my
people.
Girlfriend. Yeah, that's my girlfriend's favorite thing. She loves Bravo and all that stuff. So I made her watch Money in the Bank. We went to a really crappy Money in the Bank party. I feel really bad because I thought it was going to be very similar to what you and I went to at the Hard Rock, where we had a table. There was a big screen.
Ticket?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was like a room the size of my basement right now at a restaurant in town and a projector, not even a projector screen or anything. It was just
that's why
it
I
was not good.
I saw this idea on Twitter and I changed it a little bit, but they said how because movie theaters are dying and people don't just go see the movies, they're if I owned a theater, I would have it open, every week and host a Love Island watch party. And it's people would go. And I was or you could watch wrestling, Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, PLEs, whatever. And it's and you use the movie theater for that. I was that is such a good idea. If I had money to open my own business or something, I'm that would be what I would do, because you can cater to so many different people and so many different shows in something like that. Even if you bought an old movie theater that isn't working, you could do that. You could even have it on the same night, if Love Island is on, but then so is wrestling or something.
Yeah.
You have two different rooms set up. That's such a good idea, because people would do that. People crave socialization, especially now because of how so many things have changed and a lot of us are working from home, and with how wrestling is too, a lot of people can't afford to go, but they could afford to go to a restaurant, a movie theater, whatever, pay $20 and to get a ticket, food, and hang out with people who are also fans. I feel that's such a good idea.
I would, you don't have to go as high as $20 if you just do a $5 entry fee. I know you make it, but I'm just saying I go big brain with it. You charge $5 a head or something, and if it's a movie theater, it's snacks, drinks, all that's there. I go to a movie theater in 20 minutes from my house that is a bar, and you're right. They do crave the socialization right now, especially wrestling fans. Wrestling
Mhm.
fans love to be around fellow wrestling fans and
Yeah.
just be watching it. There's
Yeah.
nothing like going to any sort of wrestling event, whether it is WWE at an arena or if it's an indie house show and
Mhm.
you're with the local yokels up there. There's
Mhm.
just no other energy out of every single type of event you could go that I've gone to, at least from sports games, plays, movie. Like there is no crowd like a wrestling crowd.
Yeah.
That would be Sarah. I think we have $1,000,000 here.
No, I
All
know.
right.
I'm like, if
I
I
think
literally had money, I would try to do that because like I said, people will come. I mean, even if it's for, it doesn't even have to be a football game. It doesn't have to be
the
NBA finals. It could literally be something as simple as a Love Island watch party and people would come and watch an episode of Love Island. Like, and I've seen that people have done that. There's a girl that I follow who did it for Vanderpump Rules. So she like rented out a space at a local bar and she
Mhm.
so she rented it for the night. And yeah, it was a Vanderpump Rules watch party and tons of people went and then they all were just there to like hang out and watch the
That's so
show together.
cool.
So I'm like, why don't they do more of that?
We need to see more of that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the way we should be thinking. Well, let's hear. We have some peeps in the chat who I think that be great customers, we'll say, and peeps that'd be interested in that. What's up, David? What's up, David? Too. NHL draft is today,
I don't
David.
care,
I know.
honestly. It's like they wanted me to help out with the NBA draft at work, and I was like, I don't even understand how the NBA draft works. So
The NBA is so
it's
different, so
yeah,
vastly different from the NFL. I was
yeah.
listening to something on talk radio where the NBA draft, you do not get a real sense of the player you're drafting beforehand. Where the
Hmm.
NFL, it's a very thorough process
I feel like
of
that's
vetting
how it
them.
should be because you saw that one kid who was so pissed off that the Jazz drafted him, and he
Oh, Ace
hasn't.
Bailey, I
Yeah, and he
think.
hasn't even shown up yet.
Yeah, like that's what I
It's
mean.
like
Like,
the Jazz could have easily tried to avoid that, but I also
mhm.
that is something I don't know all the details surrounding this, right? But that's why it's like I enjoy watching drafts, like or let's say just the NFL draft, and I love that for the most part, the players do not care who drafts them. They're just excited that they were drafted because their dream was always just to play in the NFL. They didn't give a
Mhm.
fuck where they were drafted. It was like,
Mhm.
I just want to, show that my hard work has paid off and now I'm in the NFL.
Yeah.
That is a kid who's like, no, I worked hard to get into the NBA, but I want to play where I want to play. And it's like, that is not the attitude that you should be coming in. And
No.
I get it because people are like saying Kobe Bryant did it. We know Eli Manning did it. And it's like, I get it, but also at the same time, like, it's not cute. Like, maybe
Oh.
it worked out in there for them, but like, that's not how the draft works. It doesn't matter that you're one of the best players of the class. Like you're
Mhm.
going to go to probably one of the worst teams because they're the ones that are drafting high. Like that's the point.
You gotta play
Go
the
be a,
game.
go make the Jazz a relevant team again, dude. Like I don't get it.
You may be afraid of Mormons. You never know.
I don't know.
Bailey is on the NFL draft. She was making the San
Yes.
Jose Sharks pick, which is
Yeah.
awesome. My girl
Hmm.
Bailey. Hey, we want some Bailey. Oh, I love it. David, yes, Hooters did do that, but Hooters is out of business. So
You know what
when one
else? It's
business
like
closes,
remember
we open.
WWE in New York.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I never went. That's why
Well,
I
me
miss
neither.
it because
Yeah.
I was a kid wishing I could go to that,
Yeah.
even though it might have been a massive a failure.
That's the
I did
one
not
that
say success. It was a failure.
the clip of WrestleMania baby. Woo! From
Oh
Big
my
Show.
god, Big Show.
WrestleMania baby.
Woo.
Woo! Good
We
times.
need let's resurrect that with our own view, Sarah. I think we have some legs here with that idea. All
Yeah.
right.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
It's time for our lemons and rosebuds of the week. Lemons being the least favorite, roses being the favorite of the week. Favorite thing in all of wrestling, whether it was a show, segment, podcast interview, clip, doesn't matter. Sarah, hit me with your rosebud.
This is a bit controversial, but it is what it is. So what I enjoyed was, first of all, kind of shocking if you think about it, for the Night of Champions kickoff party. When CM Punk came out, he got booed. And so that changed, obviously, because somebody called him out about a tweet that he had sent however many years ago. And it was a nasty tweet to the Miz, and basically telling him to like continue doing what you're doing for blood money. And I'm sparing you what he actually said, and obviously in reference to working Saudi and taking the paycheck from that show. Why I think this is like my rosebud is because it just goes back to literally what John Cena was saying about CM Punk last week. He's like, you try to say that you're like anti-establishment, you're not this and you're not that, but you're Mr. TKO. Mr. TKO. Because this motherfucker sat out there and he apologized for that tweet, right? He meant every word. That's why it's still up. He said it had nothing to do with Saudi. Yeah, it did. There's no other place that you would ever reference to you taking blood money. You're not referencing Indiana, you're not, like, it's not happening. And then of course, he's performing in Saudi. So it's like you're taking the blood money that you're now referring to. So I just think it's funny because I think it just adds another layer to that dynamic between Cena and Punk. And it's funny because it really is, the tables have turned, and not necessarily like in real life, because clearly
there's
Cena's performing at
no
Night of
bad
Champions.
blood.
But when we're talking about, the pipe bomb from 14 years ago, or 11 years ago, right? 11 years ago, or 14 years ago, whatever it was.
14 years ago.
Punk was so anti everything, right? Because he was so checked out, and he's clowned people and wrestlers for the money that they take and the shows they're willing to do and the things that they were okay with. If Vince pitched them this idea, whatever. And he said that was Cena. Like, Cena was WWE's puppet. He was Vince's guy. He was this, he was that. He was doing questionable things. And then it's like, fast forward to now, and everything that he's ever preached against, he's now doing. So, and I'm not blaming him. Like, I don't have to agree. I don't love that they do shows in Saudi, and I'm not like saying anything about that, but go get your money, homie. Like, go do it. Like, I don't care. But it's just like, you look like a hypocrite, and the fact that you immediately folded because you want that blood money is just hilarious to me. It literally took a week for him to confirm what Cena said. So it just made me laugh, because I was like, bro. And then he also apologized and took a picture with that kid from the clip that he, him and his security like pushed the kid away. He was like so quick to be like, oh, let me go take a picture with him. It's just, I don't know.
Saving face. Just
it's
call
just
saving face.
It's
just
hilarious to me.
It's fine.
It's
all
just
he's doing.
hilarious.
Just saving face.
Well, he's also doing it because it was filmed, and he wants to look like a good guy.
Shit. Yeah.
He's not changed.
You gotta play the game, Sarah.
He's still Phil. He's still that same old Phil.
The game.
Oh, is he Triple H?
No, but he's buddy with Triple H now. I got a couple rosebuds. Nothing too tangent.
Can I say one thing? Did you see how Miles Bourne confirmed his relationship with Stephanie Vacquier?
I love that.
Did you see it?
Yeah, the tweet. I did see it.
His Chilean princess or whatever, his Chilean queen. And I was like, look at my 32-year-old queen getting a 26-year-old hottie. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
She's awesome. I'm jealous of him.
I'm jealous of her. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, go ahead.
I love her.
Also, skinny Lexus King. What the?
I'm a big fan of skinny Lexus King. I'm a big fan. That's a good transition. That's another rosebud. Check it off.
Lexus King is one of our kings.
Great shape.
Yeah, love it. He wasn't bad before, but it's like, this just shows like the dedication and work that he's putting in,
That's part of the reason why I love him. I wish I watched more Brian Pillman when I was younger. You know, when you're watching old clips,
Mhm.
I wish I paid attention more to him instead of only knowing him as the lunatic that haunted Stone Cold for a bit and almost got them thrown off of USA Network. You know,
Mhm.
it's just like because the way people talk about him is so prolific and how he, changed the industry in his own way and whatnot.
Mhm.
I wish I got to see that a little bit. History junkie myself. That's it. I'll put that as a rosebud. Rosebuds. First one, Kevin Owens interview on What You Want to Talk About with Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes' podcast is really good.
No, it's been
It's
really
like
good.
it's surprisingly good for somebody who is not a seasoned host of that kind of thing. You
He
know.
knows how to talk to people. He's a very good interviewer. He has very good questions. Not only that, my favorite wrestler, probably top 3 of all time, in Kevin Owens was on, and hearing him speak so candidly about the business and so open and just it felt like we were actually talking to the person.
Mhm.
And it just I love stories that they tell of, road stories,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And they have such a knowledge of the industry. You learn a lot too. So
Mhm.
that was great. And the fact that they ripped Matt Cardona and Braun Breaker to shreds for having the spray tans was
And
hilarious.
Ryback.
Did you not see that Kevin Owens apparently reached out and said, "Hey man, that wasn't about you." But
It totally was, but that's okay.
I got Ryback suggested to follow me. I mean,
Yeah.
me
To
follow him,
follow.
excuse me. Yeah. No, I'm not hitting that. I'm
You should
not
just
hitting
be
that
like, "Hey,
follow.
what's up, Skip?"
What's up, Skip? Oh no, I still have rosebuds. What are we doing? And then last night, MJF appeared in MLW. Why that's a rosebud, Sarah, is where I love these types of shocking returns because he was in MLW before, but
Mhm.
shocking appearances. No one in their right mother could have predicted this with everything that is spoiled now from, the top down to the indies. Things are spoiled so heavily. This was a complete shock. And it's not so far-fetched because he and Mystico have a rivalry going on in AEW.
Mhm.
MJF just unmasked Mystico at Grand Slam. We talked about last week on last week's show, and it seems like they're going to be setting up some sort of all-in match, or at least they hope they do. It has been entertaining, so love that. And then the final one is the Kyle versus Kyle match on Collision. Not anything to do with the match, really. It was a fine match, but the crowd interaction and the chants for Kyle's, like the different Kyle chants that they came up with, everything from Scissor Me Kyle, I forget the others, but that was just the one that stuck out. Um, like that's what I love about wrestling. And going back to what I said about the energy that you get from wrestling fans, wrestling, that's the good side of AEW and the good side, the IWZ will say, is that they will just chant anything. They just love to be there. They're going to find a way to interact, uh, unlike any other thing that you could go to that with interaction. They're
Mhm.
going to be involved. They're going to come up with crazy chants and whatnot, but it enhances the performance. We'll say, and
Mhm.
even Kyle Fletcher was getting a little popping a little bit from it. So it's just that's what I love about wrestling. It was just to see it just like in a simple match like that. It was awesome. It was great.
I feel like
Sarah,
the fan response can really make or break something, and they can even
it
make
can.
an otherwise kind of like not necessarily a memorable match or something or a memorable moment. They can actually make it memorable.
No, they can absolutely look at the
Especially
France
like,
crowd.
and it's like also if they don't respond, that is another way that they can make it memorable, because it was
Mm.
like, oh, that was a really shitty crowd or they didn't react and whatever. So I do think that again, like you said, the match was fine, but like you're not going to remember it necessarily, but you might remember the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Look at go back in history to multiple historic moments and how much of an influence did the crowd have?
Yeah.
A pretty decent one, we'd say. So.
Oh, I have a new banner that I want to add. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, when you add that, tell me what you didn't like this week, Sarah. What didn't you like?
So we found out that, well, according to, dirt sheets, whatever, Roman is sorry, it's because she steps on my wire and then she pulls out the
She
thing.
looks like she's stepping on everything,
Yeah,
Sarah.
she's
Really?
on my lap. I have my John Cena blanket on my lap, and she loves like
John
those
Cena?
really, really soft blankets.
Oh,
She
I mean, who doesn't?
needs on it, you know. Anyway, so the dirt sheets are saying that Roman is supposed to be coming back around SummerSlam. And SummerSlam is at the beginning of August. So it's a lot earlier than it is normally. And it hasn't been said like in what capacity, but you assume he's going to come back to seek revenge on Seth Rollins, which makes it feel like even more that Seth is going to win the title. Maybe he's going to cash in on Cena or something. Because why else would he be coming back at SummerSlam? But we also found out that Roman was just cast in a movie that is allegedly going to start filming at the end of August. So people had a lot of reactions, including me, that, these constant Roman Reigns returns thing is getting old and it's annoying. And that isn't even from some, people who aren't even haters of Roman or something. Even they're getting sick of it. I think even some Roman fans might be like, all right, like, what are we doing? Because I feel like at this point, if he wants to spend time with his family, he's totally entitled to do that. If he wants to go to Hollywood, totally fine to do that. If you want to be a part-timer, can we just like accept that and like make that known that you're just a part-timer now and you're just going to show up like 3 times a year? Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like this idea that right now he's kind of being treated as if he's an attraction. It's not the same the way that like the Undertaker would show up for just WrestleMania. It doesn't have the same vibe to me. So I was getting ripped because I was just saying, like, this is tiresome. How many returns does one person need? Like, but the bigger issue for me, which we kind of talked about before we went live, is like people can have their opinion about him coming and going as much as they want. They can feel one way or another. I don't love it, but I don't love it beyond just being like, oh, here we go again. We're going to have 3 weeks of Roman's returning now, like it's beyond that. My frustration comes with how his continued absences impact storylines that he's involved in. That's the problem that I have, because like I said to you earlier, him leaving after WrestleMania 40 makes sense for a little bit, because it's like, yeah, he lost the title after having it for nearly 4 years. Like, of course he's gonna dip for a little bit, but not coming back until basically SummerSlam, which I believe that's when he came back, it really took the train of Solo Sikoa being the next tribal chief like off the tracks. It just like we needed to see more of those interactions much sooner than at SummerSlam. And I think that's then him coming and going even after that, it impacted Solo's growth in that character so much, and that's why we're not even doing it anymore. I would say the same thing about him leaving WrestleMania this year. There's no reason for him to still be gone, because the same thing that happened to him happened to CM Punk. So Paul Heyman turned on CM Punk and turned on Roman. They got beat up the same by Seth. Punk's been back for what? Was he gone for like a week or 2 or something after Mania, and he was back? It's like it doesn't match up. So that's the reason why it bothers me even more, because I feel it's not fair to those people. It's not fair that Solo couldn't have a thriving character arc as the tribal chief, because it probably would have been better if Roman was around. It's not fair that we still haven't seen the result of Paul Heyman turning on Roman because Roman hasn't been around. It's like, and a lot of people don't even care about it anymore. You almost forget that it happened because they're not really doing anything about it with Punk anymore. And we haven't addressed the bigger elephant in the room, which is turning on Roman. So
yeah,
it's
I
just,
feel like you not my view of it in that is that story doesn't need to be told right now because Seth is in the Money in the Bank and
but
title,
see,
and CM Punk is fighting for the title. So
I
once
would
they come back
argue,
from that, that's when they're gonna go right back for it.
but see, this is what I would argue because this is something I was going to say, but we can talk about it now. So
Okay, cool.
this
Alright.
is a reason why I say that I think it would be better had he returned, because even if Seth is going to be Money in the Bank winner and whatever, and we can pick it up. And I'm not saying that this is not a feud that couldn't be good, him versus Roman. It's going to be good, right? But people are already complaining, and I get it. They're fickle, especially the ones that are online. We've talked about this so many times.
IWC is the
But
worst.
an overwhelming feeling apparently by online fans is that they are not buying this Seth Rollins Paul Heyman pairing. They feel like they don't have any chemistry, whatever. And however you feel about that, it is what it is. But I do think that people would be buying more into it, or it would come off more believable for people if Roman were there, because we would see the strain between him and Paul. We would see the ongoing torment between him and Seth. Like, it would be easy to believe this pairing of Seth and Paul if Roman were around, in my opinion. And so that's why I feel like even if it wasn't this, because that could have been something that that was their match at SummerSlam. We could have seen Seth versus Roman at SummerSlam. You know, that is obviously like a Mania style match, but you could still revisit that if Seth became champion because he's Money in the Bank winner. You could all make that a thing, you know? So I don't know. It's just, I feel like his absences go beyond just being annoying because, you know, he comes and goes. I think it's his negative impact on storylines and people who need his you know, rub, like with like Solo Sikoa. Like, that's not fair.
To me, the fans who are not happy with Seth and Paul being paired together need to take a chill pill.
I don't see
Like,
it, honestly. I was
I don't
shocked
at
to
all.
see.
I'm shocked. It's
I
fucking fantastic.
I mean, I like them together, but it's like, it's because it's a different dynamic than
There
him
it
and
is.
Roman. Roman needed a mouthpiece because I don't think that people realize Roman has never been a good talker. Why do you think he was the silent one in the Shield? He was Solo Sikoa before the Bloodline. He was the enforcer of the Shield. That's why Dean and Seth were the ones that were always talking. So it made sense for him to need a Paul Heyman because Paul Heyman talked for him and represented him and like helped create the tribal chief persona. Seth doesn't need him in that way, especially at this point in his career. So their dynamic is not going to be the same, but that does not mean that it's not good or that they don't have chemistry. I'm like, I don't see what people are talking about
They
at
have
all.
they have great chemistry. It's a different dynamic because Seth is utilizing Paul for the name, the intelligence that he has
And how he got him
in the business.
was the
And yes,
betrayal that he wanted.
exactly. So it's the mind game stuff that has nothing to do with a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Paul Heyman is aligned with him. And then to add Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker into the mix, you're forming your own little faction because you want to be the top of the show, business, whatever. That's the story there. That's why it's good. That's why
Yeah.
it fits because every person in that is playing a role very well. You can't compare it in the same sense to the bloodline wise man of Paul Heyman, wise man of Roman Reigns, because Paul was doing basically everything and Roman is the provider. Roman
Mm-hmm.
is the muscle. He's doing it all. He's doing everything he can for his family. Seth is doing this for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's selfish.
Well, he's
That's
made
the
it
thing.
and he's made that clear.
Very clear. It's all
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the hate there between for people. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But
Jay says, I think the problem is Paul doesn't get to talk as much because he can do alt promos very well. So you
exactly,
miss the goat. And I get it. I understand that because obviously I love to listen to what Paul has to say. However, he has had a few moments where he was out there and Seth wasn't. So
LA
and
Knight.
again, I just think it's the difference in where Seth is compared to where Roman was. Because I don't know that a lot of people were around, like people who are really big Roman fans. I don't know that many of them were around for his start in WWE. I don't think they were there for the Shield, so they don't get that he was literally a silent person in that group. Like he never talked. So it's been a long thing. Like that's why he's still not, in my opinion, a fantastic talker. Because that it's just not, it doesn't just come naturally to him the way that it does for a John Cena, a CM Punk, a Seth Rollins, a Paul Heyman, you know? Before we get to yours really quick, I just want to get these comments because it's relevant. Well, they haven't done anything with Seth's group, plus they don't even have a name, but he does think that the ending will be Roman versus Seth. I do too. It'll probably, if it's my guess, it's going to be for the title at Mania. I feel like if you're really going to try to sell people on WrestleMania 42 because people are pissed that they got moved from New Orleans to Vegas, why wouldn't you do Roman versus Seth? You know, and it could be for the title, which is something that we have not seen yet. We don't need to see him versus Cody again for the title. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead. What's your lemon?
I only really have one that I
Okay.
can think of, and it's Karrion Kross rumors. I don't like them. The bumping issue that everyone's saying, the rumors backstage are that Karrion Kross is not well received because he won't bump, do back bumps and whatnot. And after doing minimal digging into if this is true or not, you clearly see that he does and that it was a complete farce. The thing that's a little different, I would say, is that he bumped safe. And not only safe, it's believable. It doesn't seem theatric. And that's what makes it seem so, good to me, you know, that, and why he is different from everyone else is because when he takes a move, it doesn't seem like it's a, wrestling bump. It seems like he actually got kicked in the face or kicked in the shoulder and is falling how he would if he was hitting that spot. It's so good. And I don't understand. It's so good. Yes.
It feels like to me, it's just the latest example of somebody who is kind of like rising in the ranks because of the internet, and people who don't care about him or they don't understand the hype are just trying to come up with a way to derail that or to convince people that they're wrong and to like take him down. It just feels like a classic tale of that because this rise to stardom that he's kind of had behind the scenes and because of his social media following, no one has said shit about his wrestling and that he doesn't do this or, he's been well or he's not liked backstage. Like that has not come up until we were told that he was going to have a match at Night of Champions. No one has said anything. Like people have talked about his wrestling ability, and there are a lot of people who, believe that he's not that great. That's fine if you feel that way, but to then like put together a video highlight reel of him like not taking bumps when it's like, what are we talking about? And then also stretching that to being like, oh yeah, he's not liked backstage. It's like somebody has a weird vendetta against him for no reason. Because we've never heard anything about that at all, not even an inkling. So this is just coming out of nowhere. And unfortunately, when it's posted on the internet, people believe it. So I don't know.
Fightful even said it's not true. So
yeah.
Do you want to get the comments? Well, I'm going to piss my pants.
Okay.
So go get some comments before.
Okay. So Jay says, I actually think Paul Heyman was best as the advocate more than the wise man or the oracle. Yeah, I mean that's with Lesnar, right? That's what you're talking about. Yeah, I think in that regard, it's again that was a pairing that made sense because Brock Lesnar was not known for being a great talker either. Which I think I've talked about this before. People pick and choose when that's something that matters. Because Rey Mysterio has never been a good talker. No one says anything because he can do great in the ring. But with certain people, they bring it up and say, oh, so-and-so can't even cut a promo. Well, you also really love this other wrestler who isn't really good at cutting promos either. So, but you manage to overlook it because you still like them. Nathaniel Goldberg is not going to win the title. Okay, that is not happening. Jackson says Roman hasn't beaten Seth for a world title at all, so it makes sense. Hasn't he not beaten Seth before in general? Hasn't he not beaten him at all? I want to say that he hasn't beaten Seth at all. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Nathaniel says, do you think Seth will cash in during Goldberg versus Gunther match? Oh, he was asking Jackson. I still think that he's. I mean, if we're gonna believe the rumors that Roman is coming back for SummerSlam, I honestly think that Seth might cash in on Cena. Okay, I am right. Yeah, he's never beaten Seth, so that's the thing. I kind of hate that because it feels like they're gonna inevitably let Roman win.
Love that. I love that for the fact that he's never beaten Seth.
Yeah, but I hate that if they actually have a match at Mania, that means that they're probably gonna have Roman beat Seth. So I hate that. But
think Seth would put him over?
They're brothers, so it also depends on what Roman's schedule is, because if Roman is gonna keep doing Hollywood stuff or like I said, taking a break, I'm sure he'll be around for Mania, but there's no point in putting the title on him if he's going to be leaving or being a part-timer after that. That's kind of stupid. And what is a better way to get heat on Seth more than having him cheat and win?
Oh, I have a feeling that he will beat him at WrestleMania. However, I do not believe it is this year. If that
we have Shake and Bake is here. Seth is a god. I need Seth Roman main event with no title. I think it could happen. Yeah, we'll see.
That makes absolute sense too.
It's just they have so much history together that it'll be easy for that to be booked for any PLE. But it really does because of who Roman is and because of who Seth is and what we project him to be. The story is huge. And it feels like a Mania match. It feels like it would be kind of a miss if they didn't do it at WrestleMania.
1,000% agree, Sarah. And Nathaniel, this isn't the craziest thought, because when I heard that Shield music at WrestleMania 40,
I think everyone did.
We were all just like, what planet are we on? Yeah, it could happen. Batman could come in the Marvel universe.
Can you imagine though? I love how everything turned out, but imagine if it really was Moxley just being masking at night, just being like, it's Ambrose. I am, because they don't have to say who it is. They could just be like, oh my God, he's back. And it's a one night only thing. I know it wouldn't happen, but
that's why
crazy to think about.
That's why we create the Nonsense Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Sarah, so
you have John Moxley and Dean Ambrose. John Moxley versus Dean Ambrose.
We could do that. I'm gonna try to see if we can. We can do that type of shit, because I was
The Rock versus the Final Boss.
We could do that type of shit in the NWF. I have an update coming with the NWF on the third fall, Sarah. I have been playing it because last time I brought it up, we had King and Queens of the Ring. Tiffany Stratton won, but boy howdy, are you going to laugh at who won King of the Ring. We got Night of Champions predictions to break down.
On at 10 a.m. for me.
Oh, it's on at 1 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. Okay. I'm going to miss a little bit of it because Reagan work. Whatever. Anyways, Chad versus El Grande Americano would be freaking hilarious. All right. Anyways, where do we want to go? Where are we going to start first? You know what? Fuck it. Let's just start with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, the King of the Ring finals match. It's been years in the making. Sarah, do you know the last time that Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton faced off one-on-one?
I saw a photo of it, but I don't know when it's from. Was it the career, Cody's career versus Randy? Yeah.
Last time they fought, Cody Rhodes was fired afterwards in 2013. It was Randy was the champion at the time. Cody, Goldust, and Dusty were feuding with the Authority at the time. Wow. What a time
Times
to
have
be a
changed.
wrestling fan. Wow.
Yeah.
Who do we got? Who do we got in this one?
I think the only one that makes sense, honestly, is Cody. Because I think Cody will get his rematch against Cena at SummerSlam. That to me is a match that makes more sense than Randy versus Cena, because we already saw that. Like, as great as it could be a second time and have like more of a build up than it did the first time, because it was like, oh, they're gonna face off against each other in Randy's hometown, and that was basically like the selling point. I do think, Cody hasn't gotten his rematch yet, which I know that they don't really do that anymore, but fans remember. And it feels like Cody versus Cena is a SummerSlam main event to me. Because I don't think either one of them are going after Gunther. So I think it's like if either of these guys win, because they're both on SmackDown, they'd be going after Cena. But I think people will be more interested in it being Cody.
People will be way more invested, and I mean, the way my brain goes, I see Cody, Cena in the main event, and Seth Rollins cashing in on the winner.
Oh, what if Cody wins and he cashes in on Cody?
That's what, like, it doesn't matter who.
Yeah. Well,
I
that would get him
personally-
more heat than him cashing
Way
in on
more.
Cena.
No, I think if he cashed in on Cena,
Cena's a heel though.
here's the thing: the Cena cash in, that's what turned Cena back to the good side.
Oh yeah, that's
Because he lost the title and he let it get away from him. Like, there's an evil, a bigger evil. There's gonna be good there. Good needs to help to defeat the bigger evil.
Seth versus Cena or Seth versus Cody fire. I know that we've already seen Seth versus Cody. However, Seth has never beaten Cody. So
exactly.
I would see it if Seth could go over. Because Cody doesn't need it the way that he did when they first, in their trio.
Mhm.
So, or in their trilogy, sorry.
Mhm.
But yeah.
It's
Cody.
both got Cody Rhodes. Let me write
Yes.
these predictions down.
Cody Rhodes.
Rhodes.
Cody
Cody
Rhodes.
Rhodes.
Oh my gosh,
sorry,
my
my mom's
nephew was
sleeping.
so
I'm
upset that
sorry.
Cody won over Jay. He told me he likes Jay more than Cody, and I was like, who are you? What have you become?
He likes Jay more than Cody?
Yeah. I know.
Sara.
Children change their minds like so quickly though. Because he also was like, he's like cheering for Randy. I'm like, what about Cody though? You've loved Cody for years at this point. What are we talking about? What's going on
They're
here?
children are fickle.
Yeah, they are. It's like, who's cool this week? I don't know.
Oh, I'm so excited. And before we transition to the next one, my nephew from California is coming to visit right after the 4th. I want to show him wrestling matches. So anyone in the chat that's got suggestions, and I'm not talking about WWE. You know who I am. We don't cater to just one brand. All right, we cater to the sport. So if you want to,
Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura in an NXT Takeover.
All right, for you, I will have him watch that. I don't know if he would have the attention span for Okada Omega. I would have to gauge that. Maybe start it with WWE. My immediate gut though reaction or thought is to show him Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles from Unbreakable. Like that is such a mind fuck match. So, and just insane. That just peak TNA at the time. So, anyways, next matchup, Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez are gonna duke it out in a street fight once and for all to end their feud. Sarah, we know your love and you're such a fan of this feud going on right now. Who do you want to win?
Or who do I think is going to win? I think it's more about that. I mean, there's no reason for this match to really be happening. No one really wins or benefits from the winning or losing. But because it's like we already know that Raquel is going to be partnering now as the women's tag team champions with Raquel. I'm sorry, with Roxanne. So many R's.
There's a lot of R's.
It feels like Rhea's probably winning this. They just want to get a pop for Rhea.
I am also have Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that it's a good match because obviously they worked a lot together in NXT. So, I would like to think that because of their history together, that can bring a good match instead of what people keep talking about, like Raquel. Oh, that match wasn't good. Blah 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 blah. So I hope that it's good. I hope they put on a good street fight, especially because we don't really see that with the women. But yeah, I don't think there's really any benefit to either one of them winning. Like, I think Raquel would be fantastic for her to be Rhea, but it's not for anything. It's just like it's a grudge match. It's not like, oh, she wins the title and so she needs to win. We already know that she's just going to be reforming a new tag team with Roxanne, so it's like that's going to happen regardless of the result. So
yeah, I to me this is to end the back and forth that they've had over the past few weeks within the tournament, costing each other their qualifying matches. This will be a brutal match. I think it
yeah.
will be fun.
Well,
If they just go around the ring and really utilize the arena and
yeah.
make it really, get the fans going with spot after spot. They're both very talented. I
Yeah.
think we're going to see a good match. So
Did you see Rhea's CVV interview and when she talked about the
that's
names?
the one. That's not.
Oh.
I did not listen. No, not you. I'm not mad at you.
No,
No.
I know.
Out of legitimately all the shit that I had to consume this week and podcast wise, that's the one I didn't get to. I listened to his Ask CVV today. So I always love those questions. They're really good, especially drives. You get to think,
Yeah. Well,
so
anyway,
that's on the list.
She talked about names that she had thought about having. Like, she gave WWE a list, and one of them was I forget what the first name was, but she chose Radkey as her last name because of Ronnie. And
oh, really?
Yeah, because she loved Falling in Reverse at the time.
See, Rhea Ripley and I would be good friends.
Yeah, so I forget what it was. Like, one of them she chose the name Isla, and then there was another one I forget. She says it, and then she said that Matt Bloom chose Rhea Ripley. So, and it's all like the names are all they yeah Prince Albert. But yeah, she talked about the names and why she chose those names. So I thought that was kind of cool.
So we both got Rhea.
Yes. I also think her real name would have been good. Her real name is Demi. Like, why wouldn't you go?
Demi would have been good.
Yeah, but maybe she didn't want it. Maybe she didn't want to use it. I don't know.
Did I have it when I was so you know what a Prince Albert is?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay. Well, innocent high school me did not know what it was.
Oh.
So when I was working at the Glorified Burger stand in Boston, I was in the kitchen on break from the kitchen, and we're shooting the shit with like the employees, and they were talking about, so let me, did you get it this weekend? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? He's like, oh, Marty got a Prince Albert.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh, let me see it, because I didn't know what the fuck it was. I thought it was a Prince Albert action figure. I thought it was Prince. I was like, oh,
and they were like, bro,
I haven't seen any of those.
Bro, what?
And they're like, what can't show you? I'm like, why? Do you not have it in your car or something? Like, what?
Oh my God.
And
little baby fetus Pat.
Oh, little baby Pits. Boy Pits. All right. Speaking of more women, Jade Cargill taking on Asuka in the Queen of the Ring finals. Sara, what are we thinking?
It has to be Asuka. It has to be Asuka. It has to. Because if we're thinking about SummerSlam and how they kind of want to have it be like a WrestleMania 2.0 or the WrestleMania of the summer, Asuka versus Io is so much better than Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. Like, the history between Asuka and Io, the type of match that we would get out of Asuka and Io is so much better than Jade versus Tiffany. I get that Jade versus Tiffany could work because of Naomi, but I don't really love the idea of Jade versus Tiffany and Jade winning the title and then being cashed in on. Like, I also think that if we want to believe that a cash in is coming at SummerSlam on Cena, I don't want the same thing to happen with the women. Like, that's boring. you know? So I think Asuka versus Io is too much of a banger potential match to pass on that.
I totally agree with you there. Like it's just yield to redundancy, as they say. I'm gonna go with Io. You need to do this.
You mean
match.
Asuka?
Fuck.
Io is the champ.
Yeah, because that's where my mind is. That I want to see Io and Asuka at SummerSlam. That is the match that needs to happen.
I wish they would bring SummerSlam back to LA.
Why?
Because I loved when they had a 5-year contract with the Staples Center. And so they had LA, SummerSlams for 5 years. And because when you think of summer, you think of the beach, you think of California. When you think of summer, you don't think of Cleveland. You don't think of Detroit. You don't think of Boston.
I disagree on the Boston thing.
You think of Boston because you're there.
No, summer, warm, seafood.
No, I'm telling you right now, when you first ask someone, what is this? No, when the majority of people are going to say they think of like California or Florida. That's what they're going to say.
All right, fair. All right, I'll give you that. But Boston.
No one's like, you know what? I want a summer vacation. I'm going to go to Boston. No one says that.
Yes, yeah, because it's not Boston. They're like, oh, I'm going to the Cape, and that's an hour from Boston.
The only people who say I'm going to the Cape are people who live in Massachusetts.
The Cape's a fucking...
Jackson says, I think Naomi cashes in at SummerSlam, but I don't see Seth cashing in at SummerSlam because both cash-ins are in the same night. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Seth makes more sense than Nate. Like, I think that the match potential between Asuka and Io is too big to pass on in favor of Jade versus Tiffany.
See, that's why I'm worried. And I want to use my WWE brain and say Jade.
But what has Jade done to have that spot right now? You know what I mean?
I agree.
But also, how does it help her to beat Tiffany and then get cashed in on immediately? I don't know how that really does anything for her other than then being in a story with Naomi. But then we're saying, okay, how long are her and Naomi going to feud? Because it's not like Naomi is going to be a placeholder champion. There's a reason she's a Money in the Bank winner, and she should have the women's championship for a while. So it's like, I would assume that she would have a feud with Jade that ends in her retaining the title the entire time. So what does that do for Jade? Nothing really. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to take the title off Tiffany soon because they clearly don't know what they're doing with her.
No, you got to she has to still be champion.
Well, no, but I'm saying I don't think it should be Jade that does it right now just because of her, the proximity to Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi and Jade, Naomi's still doing this I'm obsessed with Jade thing. Even though she is Miss Money in the Bank. So it would feel forced. I heard John Alba today on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy pod say that he thinks if Jade winning would build to a Naomi, Bianca, Jade triple threat for the title. I don't hate that idea if it's done well. I wouldn't hate the idea if they really can continue what they were doing already with it before it got kind of stale. However, the idea of Io Sky versus Asuka for a title is
Jackson makes a fair point that both King and Queen of the Ring maybe shouldn't be on Raw or SmackDown.
Exactly.
But I think last year they were both on Raw.
No, Nia was
SmackDown. That's right. No, was she on Raw at the time?
No, because she had Tiffy. Tiffy was on SmackDown.
Oh, okay. So then never mind. Yeah. So then to me, that's Asuka. Again, like I said, other than the fact that they're on opposite shows from Randy and Cody, I still think, I don't know, Asuka versus Io is that could almost main event night 1 of SummerSlam.
It could. No, it could. We'll end with the
We're not done
17.
Yet. We haven't even
talked. I said we'll end with the never seen 17.
Got it.
I want to talk about this first. Sara. Karrion Kross taking on Sami Zayn. Late addition to the card. Feels like it was added due to Dominic versus AJ being taken off the card due to Dom's injury. I'm so happy for this match happening for the sheer fact that Karrion Kross is on a PLE.
I don't think that this is kind of a similar match to me as like the street fight. I don't feel like there's a real benefit to either one of these guys winning because Karrion just got punched in the face by Sami on Raw and he made it into a good thing, you know? So I feel like if Karrion lost, it wouldn't be considered a bad thing. But I do think it would be good for Karrion to get a win because if they are going to try to explore this like darker side of Sami, I think they need to have another catalyst to get him there. And that the easiest way to do that is to embarrass him in Saudi by losing to Karrion Kross. I don't know that I'm into that. I think that's a good way to get Karrion more over. And it also is the best way to set up a prolonged story between them. And, you know, they can explore this different side of Sami and it makes sense more than just like, oh, I'm mad at what Karrion's saying to me. It's like, no, now he'll have a moment to be like, okay, that was embarrassing, or I'm pissed that you did this, whatever. Like that would make more sense.
I see this being the catalyst of the Sami Zayn spiral. This is where we're finally going to see a darker side of Sami Zayn. It needs to happen. And Kross winning, that's obvious, but it doesn't end there. We're not going to see the end of this after Night of Champions. This is going to continue. Everyone has been clamoring. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's been clamoring for Karrion Kross to get on television. And, you know, this is his time. He finally has a feud where it's possible and it's interesting. It's enticing. I like it. So I want to see Kross win.
You forgot one match, by the way.
Who?
Solo Jacob.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I also think that Sami is the type of dude that would want to help a guy like Karrion. So it feels like he would be willing to like do whatever to help Karrion get over if he needed to. And I think, yeah, like all I meant was like whoever wins, that it doesn't necessarily benefit them. The only reason I say that is because there's no title in here. It's like it's just a result of backstage arguments. You know what I mean? So it's like the story isn't super deep yet. So that's why I was saying it doesn't really matter. But I do think that obviously it helps Karrion and it would help set up the story for Sami to explore that other side of him. So it could come to a head at Saturday night's main event, or if they could push it out till SummerSlam. So
you got Kross?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kross.
Right now we're the same, so we have the same predictions.
Okay. What about Solo and Jacob?
Do you want to have a banner for that? Did you put a banner up or
no? We don't have to. But Jacob's retaining.
That's why. Like, I just don't like. To me, this is a meh match. I'm not as invested with the Bloodline story right now. I'm invested with Jacob Fatu.
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier. A big reason why the Bloodline story is not working in 2025 is because of everything that has been happening without Roman over the past year. The thing that I don't get is I don't know what they're trying to do with Solo. I don't know what they're trying to do with Jeff Cobb because that dude gets no pop whatsoever.
Mateo.
We don't care. We don't acknowledge that right now. But they need to do better by them because they were going on such a good direction with Solo. Like the little funny things that he was doing and stuff like that was getting him over. And so why are they not trying to continue that? Why are they not trying to make Jeff Cobb into this like dominating monster the way that they did with Bronson Reed, what they did with Jacob Fatu? Like they really need to figure this out because the Bloodline thing is not working, especially when they've already dropped Solo being the tribal chief. Like, why are we still trying to continue it? I don't really understand.
I don't either.
Also, I'll be so mad if they come out with like an "I hate you" Solo shirt. If they ever do that, I would be so mad.
I would buy that so fast.
I want the "I love you" Solo shirt. It's a missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity.
Jackson has Solo winning. So
Well-
does Nathaniel. I don't because I don't know. I just feel like they want to. I think it would be really good for Solo to win. But I don't really have any belief in them doing anything right for Solo. So, and that's my guy.
That is your guy.
Yeah.
John Cena versus CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship. SmackDown has already happened, so their interaction was happened already. Who do we got in this match?
Cena's retaining.
Yep, there we go.
It's that simple. Cena has to be champion for SummerSlam. They're not moving CM Punk to SmackDown. This is just another thing that they're doing like they did with Randy and R-Truth and whatever. It's just another like nostalgic match for us, but the story does not end. Oh, I can't pronounce your name and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to say it incorrectly, but he believes that Punk is going to win and that Seth cashes in. I don't hate that only because it being Punk, and so it makes sense for Seth and Punk. However, because Roman is probably returning, I feel like they're going to wait for Seth to cash in.
Yeah, I see. Do you see, or I have a question. Do you see any nonsense interference happening in this match?
Well, there's rumors that Hikuleo is in Saudi. So if that is true.
Cena.
Sorry, wrong match. I was still stuck on Bloodline.
No worries.
No, because I don't really know. No one's going to come to Cena's aid. And why would anyone want to come out and help Punk? You know what I mean? Like, he's not that cool with anyone, really. Like, that they would be like, oh, I want to go out and help you win the title. You know, it's not in the same way that people wanted to come and help Cody against Roman. Well, Roman had been wreaking havoc over the roster for almost 4 years as champion. So it's like, we're not at that level yet. So I don't think there's going to be, I mean, if any nonsense, it's going to be Cena like using the title to like hit Punk again or something. But I don't see anything happening. The Hikuleo thing, sorry, I meant to mention that when we were talking about Solo and Jacob, and we could see that, but yeah. I was reading comments, and so my brain went elsewhere.
I see Hikuleo. Going back to that, I could see an
Hikuleo comes and takes out Cena for Punk. No, just kidding. You want some nonsense? Hikuleo is here on behalf of CM Punk. Okay.
All right, so we're basically the same for everything. I am going to say, so we have a tiebreaker. I say that someone comes out for Cena, and it's Miz.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Why?
Fuck the Miz.
Sarah, why?
Because it's...
Yeah.
I just have to tell you that scared the shit out of me. Like, oh my God. Woo!
Nonsense can be scary sometimes, but to get through, you got to get through scary things to get to fun things. So, okay. We'll go some quick ones here before we get into the 3 count. Sarah, like this was announced that Tony Hinchcliffe will host late night after SummerSlam. I really don't have much to say about this other than I really don't care. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not going to watch it. I think Tony Hinchcliffe's kind of funny, but I'm not a fan of him. And if you're going to do a late night show for wrestling, it should be not by a comedian. It should be like by a host, and it should be more for the product. Like, I don't know, like a Jimmy Fallon, Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno type of late night show. Not, stand up.
Does he have has he had specials or something with Netflix and that's why they keep choosing him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's big and he's
Okay.
got his own Kill Tony and all that. Like, he's a very big name, just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, he's not really mine either. But also the reason why I was kind of surprised about this is because the WrestleMania After Dark was not received well. Not even just by the fans, but by the talent. Like there was controversies with Shayna Baszler. There was controversies with Paul Heyman.
What was
Like
the Shayna Baszler one? No, the Paul Heyman one with Gabe
there
with
was something
Fluffy.
about. I think there was stuff talked about her and like the way she looks and her sexuality or whatever. I think from what I remember, there's stuff like that.
It's gonna stir up.
So it just, I don't know. It didn't seem like fans were that into it, and some of the talent wasn't that into it either. So this just feels like a TKO thing that they're like, oh, you know, we have this Netflix partnership and he's a guy on there, so like it makes sense. But if the fans aren't going to show up or they're not going to watch it, then I'm not really sure why it makes any sense. But I mean, this is kind of the direction that they're going in right now, and so we just have to deal with it. But I mean, this is just going to be something like if they were to stream it, I'm not watching. And I'm also not going to pay like $300 to probably get in there.
No, exactly.
But they might do meet and greets, because didn't they do stuff like, yeah, they did meet and greets at After Dark, and that was the only way that they got people in the building. I guarantee it. But they were charging ridiculous. It was like $300 to meet Bianca. It was like $500 to meet the Usos. It was ridiculous.
Did you do you remember how much I paid for our ticket for Wally Mania?
I have no idea.
You know, it was combined for 3 tickets because Kyle went with us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like 120.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was
that to me was like nothing. I was like, okay.
Well, if you also think like 12 years ago when I went to SummerSlam Access, it was like $150 to meet like Randy Orton and John Cena.
Yeah. That's
and
crazy.
It's like, and now you're charging us $400 and you're rushing us. So it's like, that's insane.
You said you weren't that rushed this year, which was good.
No. Oh yeah. No, I was. I didn't get to say anything to him other than hi, take a picture, and then like thank you. That was it. They were rushing us, and they kept telling us, because they're like, there's 400 of you and we only have an hour and a half. And I'm like, that's on you. If you oversold it, that's on you, but that's not fair. Like, that's crazy.
No, you're right. It isn't fair. Speaking of John Cena,
yes,
today is the 23rd anniversary or 24th, depending on how you do numbers, anniversary of his debut in the WWE. He debuted in a segment with Kurt Angle, cut the famous line, I got ruthless aggression, slapped him. He did end up losing the match, Sarah, but do you know who shook his hand and gave him his respect?
Yes, it was the Undertaker.
You're damn right, it was the Undertaker.
American Badass Undertaker.
If that was not a passing of the torch moment, I don't know.
What's wild though is Cena has talked about, like, even after that, like, he was almost fired before he did the Thugonomics gimmick, and the Stephanie McMahon is the one who like helped create the Thugonomics gimmick. So it's like, it's pretty insane to think about what has happened over the last 23 years and how it's possible that Vince could have moved on from him before we got Thugonomics, before we got Super Cena, before we wouldn't be talking about a retirement tour, because who would John Cena have been? Like, he said that if it didn't work out, like, he was just going to go back and like join the military or do something. Like, he was be a police officer. Like, that was the dude. Can you imagine Officer Cena? And so
I would have probably ran into him. The amount of times I drive up in his area.
Yeah. So I don't know. Crazy. I'm thankful because John Cena is my all-time favorite, and it's like I watched this moment live.
That's crazy.
So it's like that. I don't know. It's just kind of cool when you're there for somebody's debut and then you're there at the end, or like you were watching to see the entirety of the career, especially when they become one of your favorites.
Yeah.
And yeah, back then, I loved Cena because I thought he was so beautiful. But yeah, no, it's cool. Like, Cena has done.
And 14 years ago,
yes,
the pipe bomb. That's crazy. June 27th, crazy day in wrestling.
So
crazy day in wrestling history.
Yeah,
WWE history.
Cena's done a lot of cool things for me, and he's been really nice every time I've met him or had any interaction with him. So I'm like forever grateful for John Cena. That is a guy that I will defend as much as I can.
Yep. I do love my John Cena. Undertaker said on his 6 Feet Under podcast with
With
new
Braun Breaker.
co-host Michelle McCool
And Braun was there too.
and Braun Breaker during the interview. Undertaker tells Braun that he believes he should be the only one using the spear in WWE right now. Which, Sarah, I feel like I've heard that before. There you go.
Yeah. I've been saying it just because of how good his spear is, but Taker was saying that he felt that way after he hit Speed with that spear. But yeah, no, I agree. And I get it. I'm not trying to, I don't think that they should necessarily gatekeep a certain move. But I think when you have somebody that does it so flawlessly and so demolishes his opponent from doing it, it's kind of hard to take any other spear seriously after you see Braun Breaker do it. So if I were somebody who uses the spear and it wasn't necessarily something that I was known for, like, I'm not saying like if Goldberg were at his prime, like, yeah, Goldberg shouldn't be fucking doing it. Like, I'm not saying that, but it's like maybe Roman, maybe Jay, like maybe don't do it because like yours looks so weak compared to Braun Breaker. I mean, we have so many iconic moments. Like, it's the Speed moment, it's the Americano moment, like it's everything. So I don't know. This to me says a lot too about how he feels about how Undertaker feels about Braun Breaker. Like, that must have been a really cool moment for Braun to hear that from somebody like the Undertaker, because like that's not something that it's very old school thinking. It's very old school of like that's your thing and no one else does it.
Yeah, you have to ask permission and to use it.
Yeah.
So,
screw the Undertaker. Imagine saying
screw
that.
you.
Imagine
that's my that's my goat. That is my goat.
Jay saying that about the Undertaker while also hating on Gunther will never not be odd to me. Like, I was never a huge fan of the Undertaker, but I respect the man. Like, I respect him as a wrestler. I'm not going to talk about like, oh, whatever he does outside of wrestling, but like as a wrestler and what he does. Speaking of, did you hear about how he might be joining the creative team?
I did see that. That's nice.
That I think is cool. What I do love about it is because a lot of his favorite wrestlers are also the ones that I like. So I'm like, yeah, can you get in the writer's room and like push Gunther to the moon? Can you do that?
Did you see the clip of him on LFG? He told Shiloh Hill to dog it during like the tryout or something before they pick teams, and he told him to dog it so that he could fall, and then Undertaker takes him. Like,
got it. Yeah,
that's my goat. That's my goat.
So I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool because even though the Undertaker is older and he's from, like the old school generation of wrestling, so people might be like, oh, we need more fresh voices, young faces in the creative room. He is not a guy that they have had on the creative team the way that they have with like Road Dogg or Hayes or whoever. Like, those are the people that I can understand why you're like, maybe we should ship them out. Putting the Undertaker in, this is a guy that watches the product and understands wrestling, and he understands characters, and he understands every aspect of wrestling. And it's pretty huge, in my opinion, that he still wants to be involved or even like that involved in the post Vince era. Because when we talk about Vince and Vince's guys, the Undertaker's number one. So the fact that he's
Undertaker
like,
is his goat.
Yeah, that is his goat for sure.
Do you want to? I don't really have much to say other than it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny that she said that WWE said no. I mean, I get it. I mean, I think that the mommy thing worked out much better than the poppy thing would have worked. So
absolutely, it is one.
Oh,
it's way better.
Kings and Queens of the Ring.
Let's do it. Or yeah, Kings and Queens of the Ring. I already got mine locked and loaded. I already know who I'm gonna pick. So.
I don't have anybody, so let me see.
I'm trying to think of my wrestling Mount Rushmore right now while you think of that. I already got 2 people, but I wanna add more. 2 more.
Okay. I have one.
Okay. Is it a queen?
No.
He's the king.
Yeah.
All right. When did they wrestle? Oh no, hold on. I got it. That's not. You can't ask that. Did they wrestle in the early 2000s? There's my question.
No.
90s?
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, there wasn't been. Okay. Harley Race?
No.
Okay. All right. I thought. Okay, I'm just trying to get. Did they wrestle after Harley Race?
Mhm.
Years wise. Okay, years wise. All right.
Well, like together and after.
Oh,
yeah.
together and after?
Yes.
Is it Bret Hart?
No.
Okay. Together and after. King of the Ring. Is it Haku?
No.
Um,
Haku
No.
never won.
Haku was King of the Ring, I thought.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Not according to Wikipedia.
Oh. Are they known for being in WWE? Like
Yes.
more? Okay. Trying to think of all the. Is it freaking Viscera?
No.
Okay. All right. I was gonna get sick to my stomach. I'm at 10. Is it a bigger guy?
What do you mean bigger?
Like monster, 300 pounds?
No. No.
No? Okay.
No.
I said Bret Hart. Did I say Bret Hart?
Yes, you did already.
Okay. All right. So I'm trying to. Is it Owen Hart?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. After Harley, or together and after with Harley Race, King of the Ring. I'm saying, and it's got. I'm gonna use a question. 13 80s then.
He was in the 80s as well. Yeah.
80s. All right. Okay. Trying to think of the King of the Rings in the 80s. It was in Harley Race. Bret Hart wasn't the first. I thought he was the first, but
Nope.
Do I know this person? Like,
Yes. Yes.
oh, okay, okay. I
picked a better one than I thought, I guess.
You did, because I'm like stumped. Were they known for wearing tights? Like the undies?
Yes. Those are
Yes.
trunks.
Trunks, okay.
Tights are pants.
Pants, okay. So trunks, they wore trunks. I'm at 14. Blonde hair?
No.
Okay. Shit, I'm at 15. Oh my lord. Pedro Morales? Like, I don't.
Mm-mm.
Shit. I give up. I can't think of it.
Really? You don't want to use 20?
Well, I'm at 17, so I got 3
Okay.
more. Why not?
It's also
Were they ever
it's not Macho Man either.
were they ever WWE champion?
Yes.
They were. Okay.
I believe so. Hold on, let me double check. I'm almost positive. Yes.
Okay. That helps. So I'm at 18. Did they main event a WrestleMania?
Oh. I don't think so.
Okay. I'm at 19. For 20, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Is it Hulk Hogan?
No.
Or who is it?
Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase was King of the Ring?
Yeah, 1988.
No shit, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought of Virgil before him. All right, quick one for me.
Okay, is
All
it male or female?
It's a male. It's a male.
Well, did they wrestle in the 2000s?
They did wrestle in the 2000s.
Did they wrestle in the 2010s?
They did wrestle for a little bit in the 2010s.
Are they in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Are they still active?
No.
Are they known? Are you counting? Okay. Are they known for being in WWE?
Yes. Yeah.
Do they have long hair?
No, not really.
Did they ever go to TNA?
No, they were not in TNA.
So they've only WWE?
I said they did not go to TNA.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. Okay, well, because of that, are they in AEW?
Not currently.
Who was in? Not currently. Oh, not no. Arn Anderson didn't win. Ric Flair, he didn't win. Did he win King of the Ring? No.
Not the King of the Ring.
Okay, so
I think.
okay, is he known for being a singles guy?
More singles guy, yeah.
Was he ever in a faction?
Yes. Not in WWE.
Not in WWE.
You're 10.
Is it Kurt Angle? No.
No.
He went to TNA.
You did go to TNA. You see, you're doing you think so. I said not active. Remember, I said not active, and even though I said AEW, still not active.
Oh, Billy Gunn.
No,
Is it Billy Gunn? Oh,
I forgot he did win King of the Ring though.
My
name's Billy, and everyone thinks that I absolutely suck. God, The Rock's the man.
They're not active. Oh wait, Regal.
Did you look at the comments?
No.
Okay, it is William Regal.
Oh, okay. No, I was trying to think of like who was in AEW, and I remember, yeah, Arn Anderson was there, but he's gone.
And
Billy Gunn, Regal was there, and I knew that was a big deal when he left.
It was because the Blackpool Combat Club was so cool.
Yeah, but he's back in WWE, so we stand.
2. I only have 2. Oh shit. Oh, it's not that bad. Excuse me. I only have 2 in kayfabe.
Okay.
Notes here. That I came up with this week. Mercedes Moné is Sasha Banks' evil twin.
Do we have Kofi is really Jamaican on there?
Oh, Kofi Kingston grew up in Jamaica. Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, is that? Do we have that?
No, I'm adding it though.
Oh, okay.
I'll think of a.
Oh, he did guess it. Great job.
Yeah, he did.
Caesar or Cesar.
I say Caesar like the salad. And then the other one that I had was El Grande Americano and El Generico, childhood best friends who both had dreams of wrestling around the world.
Interesting.
So there we go. There's our in kayfabe for the week. Things, yeah, I don't really know what it is. Just a bunch of nonsense. Oh, did you say nonsense? I got some nonsense Wrestling Federation updates for you, Sarah. I will give you 2 guesses on who you think won the King of the Ring at Royalty in the Ring.
Okay, are they still active?
No, okay, I'm gonna let you know right now. They're not real people. Okay,
they're not.
They are not. They're. It's completely fictional.
Okay, SpongeBob.
Okay, you're closer. See, that's the thinking you gotta have. It's not SpongeBob. He wasn't in the tournament. He and Patrick are
Luigi. Mario.
There it is. He said the right one. Okay. Mario defeated. I can't. Like this is like I'm dead. This happened. It happened. But Mario defeated AJ Styles to become the King of the Ring.
Wow.
So he
2 40-year-old dudes. No, actually, yeah, no, he's like 40. Yeah. Mario.
Mario is.
Mario is like 40. Yeah, because the Nintendo first came out in the 80s.
Oh, true. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So Mario will be facing a champion of my choosing at the next paper or SummerSlam, whatever the pay-per-view is. But the thing is that on your show, oh no, it'll be because on my show he'll face Kevin Owens, WWE champion. Your show, they're predicting all women's matches. Like
Oh.
it's women heavy.
Do I have Gunther on my show?
Yeah, he's your champion, of course.
Do I have Pretty Deadly?
No, I do.
Oh,
I took Pretty Deadly.
it's so rude.
It is rude, but it makes sense. Okay. Oh wait, no, I do, because I have all the nonsense people. Except I did give you a few people. The new DLC pack came out, and I added Abyss to SmackDown. I am so excited to see that. The entrance and everything. I watched Chris Park watch him do the entrance.
Yeah, I saw that.
Really cool moment. But yeah, so that's your Nonsense Wrestling Federation update. I'll be working on that, probably playing it or falling asleep to it if I don't play NHL tonight. So, and with SmackDown on the background because wrestling never stops. How about Sonic? If I see him in the community creations, I'll put him in.
I think you should put in Gary.
Gary would be funny.
Gary is, if I had to choose a favorite character from SpongeBob, which, because I'm not really somebody that watched SpongeBob much, I would pick Gary.
Meow.
But I also relate to Patrick. The episode where they give Patrick a nose, I've never related to anything more. You know?
I call myself SpongeBob all the time because of positivity and the fact that I was a fry cook for years.
I would be Squidward 100%.
That's tough.
You would agree. You would never say I was Patrick. I am Squidward.
I mean, I would be a little nicer and try to say like Sandy Cheeks at least.
I don't know. I think I'm like the miserable, like, just leave me alone. Well, you're annoying.
How about Plankton?
No, I'm not an evil genius.
You're not evil.
No, but I would get annoyed.
Difference.
I get annoyed with people that are like SpongeBob. I would be like, get the fuck away. I would hate my life if I lived next to him. So,
oh man, I'd love Caesar. Now we're talking. Okay, now we're talking Nonsense Wrestling Federation.
You should follow it because he does this stuff, dude. Like he had like Pretty Deadly faced off with like
SpongeBob and Patrick for the tag team titles in a tables match.
And the Ninja Turtles were tag team champions at one point also.
That was 2K24. Yeah, Mike, the Ninja Turtles won the tag team titles. That's right. I gotta start streaming that again once we find time and find. You need more
nonsense women.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta suggest it. I'm really open to suggestions.
Disney princesses.
They don't come up though in the creations. I have to search. Like I just added Shrek, and that's because I had to search it, and it was right after I saw the clip of him in that match in the movie when he fights in the wrestling. Like I was like, oh, let me see if he's in it, and I just searched because they added the search.
You could add like Mae Young or something. Fabulous Moolah. No, not.
I have Tony Storm.
Moolah.
I have Tony Storm. I have Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, but those aren't nonsense. You know,
Time of Tony Storm is pretty nonsensical.
I mean, not in the same way that you have SpongeBob and Patrick.
That's true. But the bad gal's there. You're on there. You're in there. We got to get you in a title picture. Problem is that Becky is tied up feuding with Rhea. We got other feuds going on for the title. You got to wait your turns there.
All right.
Unfortunately. That's all we got for you guys. Thank you for tuning into this Friday edition of the No Nights Off Super Show. Be a peep and hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live and post. Night of Champions tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Sara time. And we will be tweeting up a storm.
I don't know. I've been getting attacked so much for wrestling opinions.
Hey,
we'll see.
Heat works. Let's look at Logan Paul.
Yeah, but I don't want to be Logan Paul.
Well, look at the people who are hating you. Like they they look like they should be hated themselves. So give it right back to them. That's what I would do.
Mm.
Like, come on. Like they're not people who need your energy, we'll say. I'll put it nicely. They don't need to take your energy. So go give Sarah some supportive words of encouragement instead of nasty stuff, and follow her and I on X, Twitter, at Patty Pitts and at SMarshXO. Follow us on TikTok, No Nights Off Show. And follow me on TikTok as well, Patty Pitts. Gotta get better at that. And on Instagram at Patty Pitts as well. And we'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. But in the meantime, enjoy Night of Champions. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you gotta do is try.